All right, so welcome back to part 3. Yeah, so I mean, in the first and second part, we were working on all the foundations for all this SwiftUI stuff. And in part 3, we're going to be doing a button that toggles whether or not you're in the game. That's only going to take a few minutes, hopefully. Otherwise, there's not really anything else we need to add. I mean, oh, no, we do need to add the functionality, which is ShazamKit stuff. Otherwise, that's it. So I want to go for just scavenger hunt data, like real quick. There is a bug because scavenger hunt data that's odd. I tried clicking over to scavenger hunt data and the same file was displayed. All right, so I'm gonna copy over one thing, and that is just a restart button color. This is the color that we need to for restart button. But it's basically like a bluish color. Yeah, I mean, just use your own colors if you want to. I'm going to, let's see. Oh, I forgot one thing. In-game data. I need to add a function called reset. This reset function is really only for just resetting everything. That's basically what it's for. So reset, if you found, so I'm just gonna set found video to, no, not found video. I'm gonna set shuffle clips to nil, and then question correct effects. Set that to false since there's no more effects. Clips done, set that to 0. I think that is all that needs to be cleared up. Yeah, that's all we need to clear up. I mean, I'm just going to regroup it so it's appropriately grouped up. So this one's for a video and this one's for a game. Yeah, okay, that's all we need to do for a reset. We're not going to be using it right now, but I'm just putting it in there just before I forget to, and an error pops up and I keep searching for it for whatever the problem is. So I'm going to create a struct called game toggle button. This is just going to be a view just like everything else, except with a difference that we're going to put this view down the bottom of the starter and game screens. So this is essentially just a button. I'm going to make sure it's has a binding for bar for in-game, set as a boolean. So this, once this is changed, this will be changed, and then this can also change this. So it's basically going up the ranks. I also need to add some other properties that can be tweaked around. So for example, fill modifier. This is going to be a closure. So I'm going to pass in a capsule, and then in the other views, I can add a modifier to that capsule and then just return it as AnyView. I'm also gonna add some text for a string, basically text for the yeah. So I'm also gonna set the text color to any color. Geometry. This is just important so we can make this like so we can just set the size of it. So geometry proxy. And then I'm going to add an observe object var game data. That's also going to be game data. Game data. Game data. There you go. So inside this body, it's basically just it's literally just a button. That's all it is. So let's see. We want to go and use action and label. So the action is what happens once you press on it, and the label is just the label for it. So the label is just literally just text, and we put in the text. Foreground color, we're going to set the color to the text color, and the font is going to be .title2. So by the way, if you weren't exactly sure what title2 means from the past parts, Title 2 is just a smaller version of title. So it goes from title, title 2, and title 3. Title 3 being the smallest title, title being the biggest title. There's also large title, which is a large title. So yeah, I mean, if you've used HTML, you would understand that because they have something like this. So I mean, that's really it. So for the action, what happens when you press it? I'm gonna toggle in game, whether or not we're in the game. If we're in the game, I'm gonna set a if else statement. If we're not in the game, it's game data.reset. By the way, we're toggling it because we're going to be using this twice. It's a game toggle button after all. We're going to be using it in the game screen, the starter screen, and since this button has basically the same shape and only like a few things are different, I am going to just create an entire struct for it that can be reused over and over. If we're in the game, I'm going to set a function called start game. I will actually create that function right now. So start game, and inside start game, we're just going to make sure the video does exist. So guard.vid equals game data.video else return. If there's no video, we're just going to get out the function. We're not going to bother starting the game, or we're not going to bother doing what we're going to do now, which is shuffling clips. So game data.shuffle clips equals vid.video clips shuffled. So we're just shuffling up the clips, and that's what we're going to do. And the last things that we need to do in the button is add some padding. It's 20 padding all around, and for a frame, just going to set the width to geometry.size.width times 0.8. So it's 80% of the screen's width. We're also gonna add a background to this, and this is gonna be a fill. We're just gonna pass in fill modifier, and then inside that we're gonna pass in the capsule, which is with the style of .continuous. So it on the sides, it will just go all around and then back. I believe the other option basically only just rounds the corners, and it's not like perfectly smooth all around. I mean, on the sides, so that's why we're using continuous rather than what the other option was. Okay, so that game toggle button is done. And for the start screen, we do need to add the button as well. So game toggle button, and we've got all these different values. So I'm just gonna space this out, and then I'm also gonna copy over to this game screen and then change up the stuff. So some things do remain the same. For example, game data, the geometry is also the same. In game, that's also the same. Just need to add the $sign to show that it's binding. For a text, I'm gonna put in let's get started. This is gonna be different for the restart button in the starter screen. The game screen. For text color, it's gonna be white, and for fill modifier, it is just gonna be curly braces, and it's gonna be $0, which is a capsule. So it's just a shorthand, since we can compress it down and make it easier. So $0.fill content.grid. I believe that is what it is. Actually, no, it's going to be different, because if we haven't found the video, it's going to be game. So if you haven't found the video, or if you have found the video, it's going to be red. If you haven't found the video, it's going to be dark gray. And I think that's it. We don't need to add anything else, do we? Oh yes, we actually do need to put this all inside AnyView, since that's what it wants. Because oddly enough, that actually returns some view, which is basically anything that conforms to view. View is actually, if I search it up, it's actually protocol. So it's some view. Anything that conforms to view. But for AnyView, it's basically any view. It's being represented as a struct or as a type. All right, so I'm gonna press resume on this preview. Okay, it's taking some time to load. All right, because it's building. But yes, one other thing. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and do press disable. Type in disabled exclamation mark game data dot found video. So if we haven't found the video, it will be says disabled. Anyways, there you go. Let's get started. That works. That's all we need to do for starter screen actually. So that's all filled out. And I'm just gonna go game toggle button. I'm just gonna put it in here as well. The game screen is also gonna be just restart. Text color is gonna be restart button color. And for the fill, that I'm gonna change that over to. Actually, I'm gonna get rid of this disabled because this is never gonna be disabled on the game screen. You will always be able to restart. It's not like I'm gonna create a game which locks you in the game and you can't escape from it. I mean, there's probably some games that are like that, but this game is not one of those. So for the fill modifier, I'm gonna add a stroke. A stroke is basically just a line outside of it. So I believe it is going to use content and line width. So for content, it's the restart button color, and the line width is just only 2. That's everything we need for this content view. I mean, for this game screen, and I'm just gonna resume and set in-game to true just to see how it looks. There you go. It looks fine and it looks great. So I'm just set it back to false and resume. Actually, we don't need a preview anymore. Until the end, we don't need it. So I'm just going to close that up. Okay. So to process all the ShazamKit stuff, I am going to create a new file called Swift file. I'm going to call this video detection handler. I'm going to put this inside the folder. So I need to drag it inside this folder. I mean, I don't think it's really going to do anything, but it just makes things look nicer for me. Okay, so for video detection handler, the only thing we need to import is ShazamKit. And for video detection handler, one thing I do want to add before that is something in Scavenger hunt data. I'm going to add 2 extensions to already existing types. So the first one is sh media item property. Oh, it's not autocomplete because I need to import ShazamKit. What we're going to do now is we're going to add a property. You may have heard earlier that I was going to add properties to these signatures. That property is going to be video info. So we can actually put it in there and we can use it. And it's just how we're going to connect things together. So we're going to create a static let video info. And it's going to be sh media item property. Inside that is just going to put in video info and a string. And I think this is just like an ID, like a tag for it to use to reference. For the sh media item property, it's basically it's like I'm using static, so I can access it without having to create the property itself. So it's sh media item property dot video info. So static allows you to do this without having to actually create a property, an instance of it actually. So the last thing that we're going to do in this scavenger hunt data for this tutorial, actually, this is the last thing that we're going to fill out. sh media item. So once you match something with the audio input, ShazamKit is going to give us an sh media item. This is going to be a video info, and from there, it's going to be an optional because for sh media items, you don't have to like add every single property. You can add them if you want to. So that's why it's not optional. It may not exist. So I'm going to grab self and then inside .video info. And then I'm going to pass that down as a video info. So I'm making sure it's a video info and that it exists. Otherwise, it'll just be nil. So that's something that we need to look out for once we match it inside the video detection handler. I'm going to see if this error still exists because I think this is, yeah, it's non-existent. Because I was wondering, why is there an error? I mean, there's nothing to complain about. There's no error in there. Yeah, anyways. So for this class, I'm going to create video detection handler. This is going to be an NS object and also SH session delegate. The SH session delegate does require it to be an NS object, which is basically like an object. That's what it is. And SH session delegate is what I need to be able to actually create a function called session did find match. So once the ShazamKit session has found a match, it will just run this code here. I'll leave that down here since we're not filling that out just yet. In the meantime, I'm gonna create two variables, one called session, actually no, 3. So sh session, exclamation mark, and I'm also gonna create a constant called audio engine, and this is the AV audio engine. This AV audio engine. This AV audio engine is going to be responsible for doing all the different, basically all the different microphone input stuff. It's going to be handling all that. Yeah, and then the last thing that we need to do is add a delegate. Since we're putting it in content view, we want to be able to, for content view to handle something once it's been matched. So we're going to add a protocol, called video detection handler delegate. Delegate just meaning that you delegate someone to do something. You're giving them a task of handling something. In this case, we're giving content view the task of managing what happens once we find a match. Since this is only just handling all the session stuff, the ShazamKit stuff, whatever happens inside the game, this is not responsible for. Okay, so inside this protocol, we're gonna add one requirement for this. So it needs to create a function. So content view needs a function called found video. A bit like this. This is required. This is not required, but one of the things that you need to have is session, and then this exact stuff. So in this case, it's required. So found video info and timestamp, which is time interval. This timestamp is necessary for this video info, and that is because the video info, no, not this, the video clips. See, there's a time interval. Which part of the video that clip is in. This is for us to say, hey, here's a video that we found, and it's at this certain timestamp. That we found this video at this part of the video. Anyways, the last thing that and so some other things that we need to do is create a function called setup, and we're going to create a catalog, which is a sh session or sh custom catalog. We're creating custom catalog because we're putting these signatures into a catalog and it's custom, so it's a custom catalog. If you do want to use a Shazam's library, then yes, you can use that. You do need to go to developer.apple.com and add this, add some stuff, this like sort of this property to the app, and make sure it can get access to the library. I will talk. If you do want to know more about that, I'll put a comment. Do comment down below, and I will explain. And for this session is going to be, I am going to explain how you do that, how you do the code part of it later. But for now, I'm going to grab a signature. So func get signature, and then I'm gonna also add a parameter for name because we need a name to grab the signature. So sh signature. It's gonna be an optional since there might be a chance that the signature doesn't exist or there's something wrong with it. So let signature path. We're gonna see if we can find the signature path, and it's gonna be bundle.main.url for resource. The resource is basically the name of it, so it's just the name with the extension of Shazam signature because that's a file type. Else, if we can't find it, if it's nil, I'm gonna return nil because there's nothing else we can really do about it. And then I'm gonna set up a do catch. Do catches is for errors. Is basically a way to handle errors from these things called throwing functions. So throwing functions can basically throw functions if there's an error or something's gone drastically wrong. So we can handle it here without the app crashing. So print error, return nil. You can actually, instead of doing it, I'll talk about that later, what I was going to say. So I'm going to create a signature. I'm going to grab the data from a signature by doing try data, and then it should do contents off URL. So it's going to be signature. Actually, this is not signature path. This is a signature URL. Signature URL. There you go. So this URL is going to be used to put into data, and I'm going to return and try sh signature contents or data representation signature data. So these two are actually throwing, well, not throwing functions, but throwing initializers. So I'm creating this sh signature and data, but they can throw and cause an error. So that's why I can catch it. Another way of doing it is doing a try question mark, which marks something as an optional. But since we are still, required to return something, once you catch it, we can return nil. We do have the option to do that with a do catch. Okay, that's all we need to do with a get signature. And then we're going to loop through inside setup. We're going to loop through all the vid and videos. By the way, setup just sets everything if you haven't noticed that already. So looping through all the videos, you can check if there is a signature, and that is going to be get signature. And the name is vid.signature file name. So we've got the signature file name. We're just making sure it is not nil. But if it is not nil, then we can continue on with creating adding the stuff to a catalog. So we can do try question mark, as I said before, catalog dot add reference signature represent. So the signature is a signature, and we're representing a. So we're basically getting the signature and putting it in an sh media item. So the items are actually what are being matched up with. So inside this sh media item, we can actually set properties. So one of the properties that we want to put in is video info, and we're going to pass in the vid itself, which is a video info. And also, you can actually assign one signature across multiple sh media items. I don't exactly know what a use case for it is, but you can if you want to. And that's all we need to do. So we've added this reference signature to catalog, one thing for this catalog to check up against. And then we're going to do set the session to sh session. We're creating a session right now. By the way, if you want to use Shazam's library instead of the custom catalog, ignore all this and just use sh session with brackets. And that's all you need to do. Otherwise, if you're using a custom catalog, you have to put in catalog and then catalog. So custom catalog is, by the way, used for, custom catalogs when you're grabbing signatures and then putting it into and adding them all into a catalog with code. But if you have a file called, if you have a catalog file, which you can do with my catalog generator from part 1, then you can use that, and you can actually export a catalog and just grab a catalog and put it in here. I'm not going to go over details of how to do that in this tutorial. Apple's documentation can tell you that though. So session, for the session, we need to set the delegate to self, and so that's a way for us to, find matches. Okay, the final thing, or before we go back to the content view, we also do need to set up all the audio input. So one thing is the audio format for the input. So we have to create an audio format so we can tell, hey, what format do we want the input to be? So this is going to be just a standard format with sample rate and with channels. So the channels, this is only mono audio. It's not stereo. Most microphones only use mono, and we only really do need mono. We don't need anything fancy. So yeah, for a standard format with sample rate, that can be done with basically by going to audio engine input node. So we're getting the input and we're grabbing the output format of the input. Basically, input is basically the microphone, and we're just grabbing the format that the microphone outputs. And for bus, set that to 0. I'm not actually sure what bus is. I think maybe it's just like some sort of index of buses. I don't know. It's like maybe it's like a port. It's like, imagine having multiple ports and it's like port 0, so that's bus 0. I'm not exactly sure though, because I'm not an audio engineer. I'm just some person who does, I'm just a kid who does app development as a hobby, and possibly as a job in the future. So for the audio engine, gonna get the input node and install a tab. This is a way for us to basically just installing a tab inside the microphone, a virtual tab, and so then the tab actually is a way for us to to grab all the different buffers and all the different things in it. So imagine like installing a tap inside a water system. You turn on the water, water comes out. Just in this case, the water is a buffer of all the microphone data. That's what the tap is giving us. So we're installing a tap on bus 0. The buffer size is, I think, for quality, so I'll just set that to 2048. Actually, yeah, the output format here for the audio format, we are only getting the sample rate, so you have to add dot sample rate for that. I keep forgetting that. Anyway, for a format, we just chuck in the audio format, and for a block, press return, and you get the buffer and buffer and an audio time. There you go. The audio time is basically just a way so I can get the time in the audio. So basically from when you start, there's just a timer, and you get the time with the buffers. It's which is what the sh session needs. So session dot match streaming buffer so we're getting the buffer at audio time. For a session, I am actually going to add something for this week session. This is just a way to grab session, but like in a week with a week relationship. And it's good because in a closure, it's like its own separate function in a way, and it's being put into another class, and things can happen for memory leaks. So adding a weak thing can make it easily disconnected and improve efficiency. You don't really need to understand what memory leak is. I'm just putting this in here for efficiency. But one of the trade-offs here is that it gets marked as an optional, so session has a question mark on it. So yeah, from there we can try doing AV audio session or AV audio session, yeah, dot shared instance dot set category to record. So we're just preparing it for a recording session. In this case, we're getting the microphone data. For the AV audio session, we're doing AV audio session dot shared instance again dot request record permission, and then for response, gonna set weak self in and then for this, and then we're putting in success. The weak self again is the it's basically the same efficiency thing. The success is whether or not you've got access to grab the recording with permission, basically to use a microphone. And from there on, we just make sure that you have success. Else return. I mean, if there's no permission, I'm just gonna say return. What you would normally do is maybe add a pop-up saying, oh, there's no permission and you can't do this. You can't run the app without permission. You have to go to settings, whatever. But to keep things nice and simple, I'm just gonna ignore that. So I'm gonna try do self.audioengine.start. So we're just starting up the microphone. And then finally in the session, actually, as a matter of fact, I am going to close this part 3 off, and in part 4 should hopefully be extremely short. We're just going to finish off passing the session and connect everything up with the ShazamKit stuff with the concept view, and that should only really take about 10 minutes, hopefully. Anyways, well, I'll see you in part 4. And anyways, thanks for watching. And yeah, so I guess I'll just see you in part 4. So see you.